Hey, it's Ryan with S&B Filters, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install our intercooler pipes for the 03 to 07 6.0 Powerstrokes. These are going to be covered by two part numbers, the 1010B, which is going to cover the 05 to 07s, and the 1003B, which is going to cover the 03 to 04. And these are prefaced at 76-1003 versus 76-1010B. What you're going to have when you open your box here is first a bent pipe. This metal pipe is going to replace the plastic one on the 05 to 07 trucks that was known to rupture. It's going to replace the smaller metal one on the 03 to 05s. You're also going to get a cast elbow with drill ports right here if you need to screw in a boost sensor or a methanol kit. You're also going to get the main hardware pack that's going to include the machined aluminum spacer if you have an 05 to 07 truck. This is the only difference between the 03 04s versus 05 to 07s. This spacer gets included on the install. This is also going to have new silicone boots for both ends of the pipe, as well as the clamps needed for that, and your install instructions. So we're going to get started right now. So we're going to get started underneath the hood here, and to get to our intercooler pipe, we're first going to remove our intake kit. And this truck's equipped with an S&B. I'm going to show you how to remove that right now. The stock removes very similarly. So first, we're just going to pull the cover off to get to the clamp on the filter so that we can remove the tube from the filter and then remove the box from the truck. Now with the filter clamp removed and the filter sitting in the box, we're going to come up here, remove the next clamp up so that we can remove the tube as well. With that loosened, I'm going to remove our mass airflow sensor and the connector on our filter minder. With those two out, I can go ahead and remove my tube. Now we're going to remove the tube. To do this, we're going to unplug our mass airflow sensor, filter minder, the clamp over here. We've already removed the clamp off the filter inside the box. So we've removed the vent line from the degas tank and removed the filter. Now we're just going to wiggle this tube out of here, being careful not to break the filter minder. Set that over there. Once your tube's out, your box will pull backwards, directly up. Now we're going to go ahead and loosen the intercooler pipe boots on the factory pipe. So we're going to loosen the lower one first. With the intake removed, it's easy to access this bolt. It's going to be an 11 millimeter. Next, we're going to remove the upper boot, another 11 millimeter. With the clamp removed from the upper location, we're going to go ahead and remove this C-clamp right here. We're going to use a pick to get underneath it. Then once we're under it, it just pries out of the groove. Just rotate it. Now you're good to remove the entire pipe from the vehicle. So now that we've snaked the old intercooler pipe out of the vehicle, set your T-bolt clamps aside from both ends. We're going to be reusing these with the S&B kit. Now we're going to remove the factory elbow using an 8 millimeter. There's 4 bolts, one on each corner, and you can actually remove this shroud if you need a little extra room to work. So with the bolts removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the factory intake elbow. And if you have an 03 to 04 truck, you'll notice yours is a lot shallower, and you won't be needing that machined adapter piece that I showed you earlier. If it's an 05 to 07, you'll notice that it makes the 90, and then it's pretty deep right here, and so we will install the machined aluminum adapter plate in between here, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So now we are going to put the clamps that you took off your OE intercooler pipe over the hump coupler and get this slid onto the lower intercooler boot in the truck. We got the hump coupler installed in the truck. Now we're going to get the straight coupler installed onto the intake elbow and get a T-bolt clamp position in the right spot. We're not going to torque this down yet. We'll torque it down once we have the tube in the truck as well. Now I've got the T-clamp not torqued all the way down, but just snugged up and positioned on the coupler correctly to make it easier on us once we're in the truck. With the hump coupler now slid over the OE intercooler, I'm going to snake this pipe small side down and kind of work it underneath this intake tray and then start twisting. And then once you have it right there, just wiggle and twist until it slides nicely into that hump coupler. We're going to go ahead and torque the hump coupler down now. Both of these are going to be 11 millimeters and going to 100 inch-pounds. Make sure to position these in a way that your intake with the S&B especially has a big scoop. So I like to get them as far off to the side as I can. Since this truck's an 05, we're going to be using the machined aluminum spacer block. And to do that, we're going to need all 6 of the bolts included in the kit. We're going to be using those, so I'm going to go ahead and start applying Loctite. Now we are going to install the aluminum spacer since this truck's an 05. And we need to make sure we have our O-ring in the bottom. There, it fell out. Make sure it stays in all the way down and seats into that O-ring groove nicely. Here, I can feel that it did. So once it's down, this whole location, and the back one are going to take the Loctited bolts that we prepared earlier with the washer on top. So I'm going to go ahead and get those started right now. Once those 3 bolts are installed, we're going to torque all 3 of them to 100 inch-pounds. And I'm just going to equally kind of snug them all up before I hit torque spec. Next, we're going to slide the straight coupler onto the pipe. Make sure you have your O-ring on your adapter. This is just going to slide on nicely. And I just felt it click all the way in right there. So it's now almost touching the manifold. And before we torque these down and tighten these up, I've already got this one tightened up, but I will re-index that so it's flat, it does not touch the hood. Next, we're going to drop our pre-Loctited remaining 3 short bolts in. And the longer through bolt is going to go on, again, the front passenger location. Get that started by hand too. And all of these are going to go to 100 inch-pounds as well. So I will get going on torquing those down. Finally, using an 11mm, we are going to torque down all the T-bolts to 60 inch-pounds. The hump coupler OEM clamps as well as the straight coupler clamps up here. Once you've gotten all those torqued down, you can reinstall your intake and we will meet back up in a second and you were wrapped up. We've got the intake back installed. We've got all of our clamps torqued down. We've got all of our bolts on the elbow torqued down, all of our O-rings in place, and your truck's ready to go now. So all this kit's gonna do for you is make sure that your plastic intercooler pipe never pops apart under high boost, towing situations, or climbing a hill. Just gonna make your truck more reliable and make sure you're not broken down on the side of the road. If you have any questions, call us at any time. Thank you for your time.